This is the Troll Patrol, live with JustinFREAKIN.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol, live on a Friday afternoon. An odd time, but this is going to be an interesting meeting as Mr. Mamdani goes to Washington to meet with President Pigshit. The people in the chat over here on the AP that are saying Quiet Piggy was cracking me up. They've stopped now. I'm seeing a lot of Mamdani 2028. He is set to arrive at the White House anytime now. The meeting set for 3 o'clock this afternoon. The AP has a shot outside of the White House. So, Orb, that is what we're going to talk about today. Zohran Mamdani making his way to the White House to meet with President Donald Trump. Meat Cakes, welcome in. We're live on YouTube. Kick. I've got 2 videos premiering on YouTube right now while we're live. We'll see how that strategy works out for me. Just because I couldn't get them up fast enough. I'm not really sure what is on the agenda for their meeting. I probably should pull up C-SPAN. C-SPAN might be taking calls right now as we await Mamdani's arrival at the White House. Right now in the shot, reporters are getting set up. Once again, the meeting's set to take place at 3 p.m. See what we got on the C-SPAN docket. We currently have, I think this is live. This is Representative Chrissy Houlihan speaking outside of the Capitol. See what's on C-SPAN 2 here. Both of them say that the meeting is set to take place at 3 p.m., but don't say what it is. They're showing... So, Ducky, they'll do the obligatory, like, you know how they do with foreign leaders or a business leader when they come. He did it with Mohammed bin Salman earlier this week. He'll probably sit there in front of the fireplace like he's doing with Macron. I was trying to get a picture because there's accents on the fireplace now. This, I guess, before they use the accents. Yeah, there we go. I tried to find a picture for the thumbnail. There's the accents on the fireplace. The chairs look to be more gold, too. More gaudy gold. The improvements Trump has made on the Oval Office there. But they'll have a sit down at the Oval Office with, because a lot of this is for reporters anyway. So they'll sit and they'll have a shake hands kind of thing going on. This is the live shot outside of the White House. So Mamdani will pull up here shortly. Trump come out, shake his hand, all that good shit. Yeah, the right called Mamdani a terrorist, and then Trump had a literal terrorist come and meet in the White House. Terrorism totally cool, just depending on which side you're fighting for. If you're like some sort of resistance army fighting against a brutal government, we look down upon that. But if you're doing the bidding of the U.S. in some proxy war, they're all about you. DJ Dub. Yes, this morning they passed a resolution to condemn socialism. Let me pull that up. That is something we can talk about as we await Mamdani's arrival at the White House. Apparently he was on with Chris Hayes last night. We might give that a watch. So I'm gonna switch these out here. Put this one over here so I can keep an eye on what's going on. This is Congress earlier today passing a resolution to condemn socialism. 85 Democrats. I don't know if this is the final tally.
With
86.
The yeas are 285 and the nays are 98. With 2 answering present, the concurrent resolution is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Madam Chair. I rise to oppose this cynical and silly resolution. I am not a socialist myself, but a Tom Paine Democrat, a champion of strong democracy, universal freedom, and equal rights for everybody. But this resolution is ridiculous. From its first paragraph, it promotes the fallacy that socialist ideology leads to social collapse. In fact, many of our strongest democratic allies on earth, including Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Iceland, and Finland, lead strong democratic socialist governments and thriving societies and economies. Yet House Republicans base their entire resolution on this falsehood and advance a false equation between democratic socialism and communist dictatorship, a preposterous assertion that contaminates the entire resolution. The resolution even tries to conscript to these ideological deceptions the words of President Thomas Jefferson and James Madison, Enlightenment liberals who lived long before socialist ideology even existed and would detest the fanatical theocratic politics of the MAGA movement and the plutocratic billionaires and
good on Raskin on this.
CEOs who are running things behind the curtains. Thomas Jefferson is quoted embarrassingly in this resolution for the proposition that to take property from one to give to another is to violate arbitrarily the first principle of association. This is a bizarre argument, not only because Thomas Jefferson died in 1826, a decade before the word socialism even existed and was in common use. It is also bizarre because Jefferson shamefully owned more than 600 enslaved people over the course of his lifetime.
Bam.
His many other virtues, and he had many.
Julie, welcome in.
Livelihood was based on appropriating the labor of other people against their will and stealing their property that they should have had in their own bodies and in their own lives. The resolution is completely disoriented. It plainly feeds into the decades-long Republican obsession with labeling the great programmatic achievements of American democracy as socialism, including Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, public education, public health measures and the Affordable Care Act. By defining essential democratic public programs as socialist and claiming that socialism inevitably leads to Stalinist communism and social collapse, these plutocrat Republicans are plainly working to undermine the living standards of the working class majority of America and rip up the social fabric of the country. Meantime, President Trump's heroes and best friends in the world are communist dictators. If House Republicans really want to oppose the promotion of socialist ideology, why don't they write a letter to President Trump and condemn his worship and admiration of Stalinist dictator Kim Jong-un of North Korea? Quote, "We have a unique relationship and a very special friendship." Former KGB officer Vladimir Putin, who said that the collapse of the Soviet Union was the greatest catastrophe of the 20th century. Of him, Trump says, "Putin, very smart. Will he become my new best friend?" And what about the chief of the Chinese Communist Party, President Xi? Trump describes him as a brilliant man. He's got the look, the brain, the whole thing. President Trump has no problems with the actual horrors of communism today, like the Chinese government's massive human rights violations against the Uyghurs, the Tibetans, and political dissenters in their country. Quote, "Well, he's a brilliant guy. He controls 1.4 billion people with an iron fist." Or how about Vladimir Putin's persecution and poisoning of human rights and anti-corruption activists like Alexei Navalny? Of him, Trump says, "I don't know exactly what happened there. We haven't had any proof yet, but I'll take a look." I'm voting no on this pathetic, disoriented resolution, which is divorced from reality and drenched in right-wing ideology. It will only serve to accelerate MAGA's attempts to defund the essential social programs that are central to American democracy, that were built by the American people, like Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, which they call socialism, but which serve our people. Thank you for yielding, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields. The lady from California reserves.
I reserve the balance of my time.
Lady.
Good job, Jamie Raskin. Looking good, recovering from cancer. Good on him. Let's watch this ABC News piece.
The idea that anyone can get rich. Communism is the idea that no one can get rich. And democratic socialism is the idea that anyone can get rich, but nobody should be poor. The difference between communism and democratic socialism is that communism involves a complete break from capitalism and effectively an abandonment of market mechanisms as instruments for social distribution. Whereas democratic socialism uses market mechanisms as a means to achieve certain social goals when they actually achieve them. But when they fail to achieve them, when there is so-called market failure, it uses other instruments. It's not abolishing private property. It's not abolishing even the market. It's regulating the market so that it can achieve certain results that are compatible with values of dignity, equality, and freedom. In America, socialism always had to work within a democratic system, and it begins at the beginning of the 20th century. There is a large working class union movement that culminates in a relatively large socialist party that in 1912 famously runs a presidential campaign behind Eugene Debs that obtained 6% and 1 million votes. Then there is a big split within the socialist movement within the United States after the Bolshevik Revolution, the Soviet Revolution of 1917. There are those who become favorable to this revolution, and another strand that remains more faithful to, let's say, American ideals of what democracy is. Over time, that movement evolves. I think it gets essentially incorporated into the New Deal. And then it breaks from the student movement in the 60s, and then had a period of dormancy, of not very successful political action in the 80s and 90s, but is essentially resuscitated by Bernie Sanders in 2016 with his electoral campaign that brings back a reference to European-style social democracy. So the idea of having some basic services that are available to people irrespective of their capacity to pay. I think the mayoral campaign of Mamdani in New York represents a new phase that builds on what Bernie Sanders started in 2016. The key word that he refers to over and over again whenever he's asked what democratic socialism is the concept of dignity. We want to create a system that defends human dignity. Part of the interest of the right and the critics of both is to conflate the distinction between the two so that they can associate socialism with communism, blurring that distinction, and then by association blame socialism for being a pathway to communism. Misunderstanding that the core of democratic socialism is precisely to distinguish itself from communism and is try to make the values of freedom, equality, and fraternity compatible with democracy.
That wasn't bad, and when you consider that most of the United States is like reads on a 4th grade level, it was like a baby introduction. It's probably a pretty good piece. I fucked up the YouTube thing. There we go. Now it has my thumbnail and everything. All right, let's we're still waiting for Mamdani to arrive at the White House for a meeting with Trump. This is going to be interesting. I think Trump's going to like him. I think he's going to turn on the charisma, the charm. And people are going to be flipped out by this. Maybe, who knows? Maybe Trump will yell at him. Maybe JD Vance will be there, make a big deal about it. Who knows what's going to happen? This is why it's interesting, and I wanted to be here for it.
Literally in the commercial break, Donald Trump announced on social media he will meet with New York Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani this Friday in two days. It just so happens I spoke with the mayor.
It's any minute now.
Take a listen. Joining me now is New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. Nice to have you here, Mr. Mayor-elect.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Is the White House meeting real? Who knows what's real these days, but do you understand it as a real thing?
We did reach out to the White House, and my team reached out because of a commitment that I made to New Yorkers, that I would be willing to meet with anyone and everyone so long as it was to the benefit of the 8.5 million people who call the city home and their struggle to afford the most expensive city in the United States of America.
Do you think a lot of people go into meetings with Donald Trump, I think, thinking they're going to be the one to get over on him. And I sometimes often think, I've watched this now for 10 years, they screw up because they think they underestimate him. Like, what is your goal for a meeting with Donald Trump? What do you want to come out of a meeting with Donald Trump?
I want to just speak plainly.
Was Hayes trying to give him advice there?
To actually stand up for New Yorkers and the way in which New Yorkers are struggling to afford this city. And frankly, cost of living is something that I heard time and time again from New Yorkers about why they voted for Donald Trump. And this is something that is only continued in the last few months of this year, where we're hearing about childcare concerns, rent concerns, Con Ed concerns.
Starting to be a lot of movement over here, so he could be arriving any minute now.
That this is what we're talking about. These are the stakes for New Yorkers and their ability to keep calling this city their home.
Have you had any moments of buyer's remorse since you won?
No, I haven't. Because
there hasn't been a moment where you're like, oh my God, this job is insane. Come on.
I've enjoyed it. But, buyer's remorse would imply we were trying to buy the election. That was actually other people in the campaign. But
I mean, just.
Ooh, what a slick move.
I don't know. Like, has there been a.
He's so good.
You in on some detail of like, hey, here's how the sewage system works. Here's how this works. Where you're like, oh, I had no idea that was in my purview.
I have to be honest with you. It's more the excitement of being able to serve the city that I love and just getting able to understand the granularity of what makes our city run every single day. The incredible work.
That's what I mean. I mean, the amount that's invisible, right? Yeah. To make all of this work is shocking.
And you leave with a newfound appreciation for this city and the people whose names you don't know, who do the work that you would rather not do every single day. And those people do that work no matter who the mayor is. And I'm excited to be a mayor that recognizes their work, supports them in that work, and also understands that I'm a New Yorker and I'm going to have to deal with the opinions of many New Yorkers every single day. And sometimes they'll sound like they're supporting me when they're yelling at me, and that's fine.
There's two parts of the exit polling that jumped out at me. And everyone says, and I think rightly, like, New York is a very sui generis place. It's not like a model for
sui generis. I got to be honest with you.
No?
What does sui generis mean?
Like completely unique. Like
there we go.
Of its own. Good. Okay. Good.
I want to be honest with you.
No, I like it. I like that.
No idea where
I'm
we're
like
going.
self-conscious. I'm like,
Not afraid to ask what a word
it's
means.
hard. I think it's a hard place to
I didn't know.
right? But there's two things that struck me. One is
Too generous.
Young Men exit polling at NBC News, where you saw Democrats perform much better than they had in 2024, both in Virginia and New Jersey. But the New York City number jumps out, plus 40. That's a big number. And then I saw an exit poll, and I think this is in some ways the most interesting, is you won 9% of Trump 2024 voters who went to the polls. Now, so people understand, Trump improved his performance in this city from about 37 to about 43% between 20 and 24. 9% of voters, that's an enormous shift. What do you credit that to?
Well, I think what we found is that if you listen to New Yorkers as opposed to lecturing them, they will start to see themselves in your movement. And, last presidential election, there were so many obituaries written for the Democratic Party's ability to get the trust of young people, young men especially, to get the trust of Asian voters, to get the trust of so many who were feeling left out of this political system. And what we found when we went to Hillside Avenue in Queens, went to Fordham Road in the Bronx, two of the neighborhoods with the largest swings towards Trump, when we asked people, why did you vote for Trump? They said, cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. And by focusing on cost of living, as opposed to paying consultants to tell New Yorkers what they should think, we were able to actually craft a campaign where we had someone come to our Forest Hills rally with a hat that said MAGA Mamdani.
You know what I mean? I literally, that's one of those moments where I was like, is this AI or not? Because you never know these days, but he's real, right? Yeah, he is.
This is real. I'm an expert in AI because my family WhatsApp sends me all the AI videos.
Oh, you get them all.
Like, I didn't know you did this event. I was like, I didn't do this event. This is AI. You know I don't speak that language. Why are you sending this to me?
That's so good. You're getting AI slop of you.
I didn't know you debated the European Parliament member. I didn't debate him.
Oh my God, that's so good. Let me ask you this. You have you're going to be the mayor of New York, and you're going to take on that position at a moment when the Department of Homeland Security has been basically targeting cities for these sort of surges of enforcement. We saw it in LA, we saw it in Chicago, now it's in Charlotte. I don't know if you've seen the videos coming out of Charlotte that are not AI. I mean, really horrific stuff. I mean, American citizens being wrestled to the ground twice in 5 minutes, their car window being broken, teenagers being chased out of church, right?
We're about 5 till the top of the hour. The meeting between Mamdani and Trump is to take place at 3 o'clock.
What's your plan here? What's the idea?
I can't pronounce acetaminophen.
And CBP and all those people show.
Fuck, I think I just did it right then.
That we're already
I was trying to fuck it up.
in this city. I was speaking to a number of New Yorkers the other night. A young woman told me in tears about how ICE has tried to detain her aunt on multiple occasions, coming to their door, coming to school.
I think we are. Somebody's coming out of the White House. Oh, just another reporter. Sorry, false alarm. This is a live shot outside of the White House. Mamdani set to arrive any minute now. The House passed a resolution this morning condemning socialism.
Up there I have some people. I do. Will they open the open? Yeah, they're in.
Faintly in the background, you can hear music. And I've seen reports that they've been playing like Trump's playlist. It was 86 Democrats voted with the Republicans to condemn socialism.
I'm gonna get this 5 more minutes. Then it's super sad.
It's really faint. I think it may be Alice Cooper. The Palm Beach Post, just 30 minutes, published an article. White House is looking like Mar-a-Lago. It's sounding like it too. Reporters gathered in the former Rose Garden area of the presidential mansion noticed yet another modification to the property, a loudspeaker system. From the media reports, it appeared the music blaring from the speakers was remarkably similar to the playlist at events featuring the president in the Grand Ballroom at Mar-a-Lago. If so, it would be another adjustment to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, like the Oval Office, gilding a planned spacious ballroom, patio seating, and dining area that make the place feel and look more like northern Mar-a-Lago. Here is an update to the scorecard of the changes. The sound of music at White House similar to Mar-a-Lago playlist. Music was playing loudly from the sound system President Trump installed on the Rose Garden side of the West Wing, to the press area and lower press office. Your pooler could hear tunes from Phantom of the Opera and other songs. Colleagues reported hearing It's a Man's World by James Brown and other hits. In the far distance, construction noise mixed in from the President's White House Ballroom project, creating a unique symphony on an otherwise still autumn afternoon. But I can't make out what it is that's playing because it's super faint.
Cancel. Cancel. I can't believe he canceled. He didn't show up. So what is your read? Do I need to sit down on that?
What color would you like to change my bandana to?
What's your read? Do I need to sit? Okay. Yeah, of course. Yeah. But you're not going to go shoot your yard.
Everyone can light one up, tip one back.
Got it. Okay. Okay, no problem. So yeah, it's fine. I'll go. I'm just gonna hang it right here. Here.
I have so many colors right here, and green is not one of them.
You're looking at it. That's me asking a question. This is what we got. Where's yours? That's going to be for now. I'm going to go get over there at 4, and it's all going to go down at 4. It's going to be not late. Yeah. It's really limited. I don't know, maybe the Rangers. It was there. I don't know. They moved it a couple hours ago. Yeah.
Good job, Orb.
Half the cameras are. Right? All right. Do what you got to do. Although, I mean, just, I don't know what the intent is behind you.
I don't know.
Each one of those positions
These are
behind
for
you
still
have a
photographers.
photographer.
So if I'm going to kneel somewhere, where would it be?
Underneath, wherever you want to, as long as you don't block someone else.
So like this.
You'd have to speak with the gentleman behind you, but yeah, you wouldn't, as long as you're not blocking that guy there or who's up.
Got it.
Thank you.
Sure.
If he takes questions here, why wouldn't you just open his mouth?
Hello? Hey, you're welcome.
But you came here today. Did you get an answer already from
Still awaiting Zohran Mamdani's arrival to the White House. Parkour's, welcome in, my friend. Mamdani getting here a little late. However, Mamdani arriving late, he's probably being escorted by like the Secret Service. It's probably the White House people that are bringing him to the White House. I wouldn't look at it as a power move because it's probably the White House that's coordinating it, so they know where he's at. They like. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's being brought there. Like, it's not him that set this up. It's not him that was like driving to the White House. So could just be traffic.
How do you look, Jeff? Very fierce. Thank you.
Maybe Trump's not ready yet. So they're not actually bringing him to the front door yet. It's that kind of shit.
And you see all those magazine covers in going like this?
Be cool if it was a power move, though.
It's going to be, I was just joking with my colleague, it's going to be all for naught. It's going to go down at 4 right when we got to go. All the plans, right? It's 3.
Who in the chat thinks that Trump yells at him? Who in the chat thinks that Trump ends up liking him?
Right now, we know it's either delayed or closed.
Yeah.
Don't know which.
I think all the tea leaves suggest delayed because they've basically been, signaling that it's opening up.
Right.
So
all it takes to not open up is him changing his mind.
True. Very true.
I don't know who all is going to be in attendance. This is so suspenseful.
So, somebody just. Where was this? It was over the center. So it's mine now. Go take it. I'm sure. And I'll be here. And cuts. Yeah. Triangulate. Hey, it's Andy. Triangulate.
Triangulate.
Right in there. Look at the text.
Ooh, Ducky. I think there is like a 15% chance that happens. It is not 0, but I think it's pretty low. Oh, Jeffries voted for it. I'm sorry I did not do the rundown. The leader of House Democrats voted for the resolution to condemn socialism.
Can't believe you let him do that.
Several other high-profile Democrats did as well. Raskin coming out against it is surprising to me, but like, good on him.
Hey there. Oh, so cool. Is that a troll pen or a piggy pen?
The full list of Democrats that voted in favor of the resolution to condemn socialism: Pete Aguilar, California; Gabe Amo of Rhode Island; Jake Chuchaklos of Massachusetts; Amy Barra of California; Sanford Bishop of Georgia; Brandon Boyle of Pennsylvania; Nikki Budzinski of Illinois; Salud Cubberjall of California. I fucked his name up. Ed Case of Hawaii; Kathy Castor of Florida; Sheila Sheriff Phyllis McCormick, who just got indicted on fraud.
Yeah, is it Zohran Mamdani?
Gil Cisneros of California; Catherine Clark of Massachusetts; Jim Clyburn of South Carolina, no surprise there; the head of the Congressional Black Caucus; Herb Conaway of New Jersey; Lou Correa of California; Jim Costa of California; Angie Craig of Minnesota; Jason Crow of Colorado; Henry Cuellar of Texas, that one is no surprise; Don Davis also has been indicted on fraud, if I'm not mistaken; Don Davis of North Carolina; Chris DeLuzio of Pennsylvania; Shamari Figures of Alabama; Bill Foster of Illinois; Louis Frankel of Florida; Laura Gillen of New York; Jared Golden of Maine; Vincente Gonzalez of Texas; Maggie Goodlander of New Hampshire; Josh Gottheimer of New Jersey, also not a surprise; Adam Gray of California; Josh Harder of California; Jim Himes of Connecticut; Stephen Horsford of Nevada; Chrissy Houlihan of Pennsylvania; Hakeem Jeffries, the leader of the House Democrats, the minority leader, that's the word I was looking for, thank you very much, of New York; Julie Johnson of Texas; Marcy Captor of Ohio; Bill Keating of Massachusetts; Greg Landsman of Ohio; Susie Lee of Nevada; Mike Levin of California; Ted Lieu of California; Stephen Lynch of Massachusetts, not that Stephen Lynch; Seth Magaziner of Rhode Island. He came up the other day in something and I was stunned by the name Magaziner. John Mannion of New York; Lucy McBath of Georgia; April McLean Delaney of Maryland; Kristen McDonald Ribbett of Michigan; Gregory Meeks of New York; Grace, this is 87, okay. So this is all the Democrats. Joseph Morell of New York; Kelly Morrison of Minnesota; Jared Moskowitz of Florida, that's no surprise; Seth Moulton of Massachusetts, no surprise there; Frank Mervin of Indiana; Donald Norcross of New Jersey; Jimmy Panetta of California; Chris Pappas of New Hampshire; Marie Glusenkamp Perez of Washington; Scott Peters of California; Brittany Peterson of Colorado; Nellie Pugh of New Jersey.
Awesome.
Nellie Pugh.
It's the whole goal. He's over at our library.
Sounds like a nickname you would give a significant other. You're Nellie Pooh. Josh Rowley of New York; Raul Raouz of California; Pat Ryan of New York; Andrea Salinas of Oregon; Brad Schneider of Illinois; Hillary Schaltman of Michigan; Kim Schreier of Washington; Eric Sorensen of Illinois; Darren Soto of Florida; Greg Stanton of Arizona; Haley Stevens of Michigan; Marilyn Strickland of Washington; Tom Suzy of New York; Emilia Sykes of Ohio; Dina Titus of Nevada; Richie Torres of New York; Lori Trahan of Massachusetts; Gabe Vasquez of New Mexico; Eugene Vindman, the CIA agent of Virginia; James Walkinshaw of Virginia; Debbie Wasserman Schultz of Florida; George Whiteside of California; and Frederica Wilson of Florida. So there you go. Called all the Democrats out that voted for that stupid resolution. 80 fucking 6 of them.
So if you want, I bet you
tell you what, I'll call you. I'll call you and we can.
The time is now 3:13 on the East Coast. We're quarter of an hour late getting this shindig started. What does it mean?
All right, guys, I gotta go. Love
No, KNBC. I wish it would be nice and warm. Right?
Did anybody have any Congress people on the list we just named off? If so, you should call them.
You want to put a mic over here?
You know what? Speaking of calling Congress people,
Congressman Nancy Mace's office. How may I help you?
hey, this is JustinFREAKIN. I gave you guys a call last night. I host a show called The Troll Patrol. You're on with me right now. I'm on stream. I wondered if she got my message.
Sorry, sir. What's this regarding?
I need a GOP mommy.
Sir, this is not appropriate.
This is not appropriate. No, I tell you what's not appropriate is Nancy's big old bazungas. They are amazing.
All right, goodbye, sir.
Goodbye. Nancy Mace is not appropriate. Thank you very much. That was really good.
So I'm going up Wednesday. I'll probably take the train. I like the train.
I'm not a stalker. If the answer is no, Nancy, just say no. Do you think they have caller ID? They won't answer if I call back. Should I call Joni Ernst's office? There'll actually be people there. See if Joni ever got any of my messages. I would think they'd just send it to voicemail, yeah. They are indeed condemning Bernie. Like 86 Democrats condemned a wing of their own party, so we should probably just, have proportional representation and have multiple parties.
Why isn't there any audio on this?
The way other countries do it.
labs, there's wireless. So there's going to be.
Probably be a lot better.
Well, no, they're not going to sit. That's why. No, this is microphones.
Who, I'm anti-American? Yes.
No, we're down here. No,
This is my correspondence company.
I think it's hey, maybe, I don't know. It's too faint to make out.
Yeah, exactly. He's dragging on.
So I wonder if they sit around and listen to the messages from the night before, because I feel like, you know, a JustinFREAKIN and my message would have, you know, got some giggles from the office, I would think. You know, like, listen to this dumbass. But he didn't seem to know who I was. Oh yeah, if she hears it, it's because I tag her on the video on Twitter. Then she might actually hear it. We're 20 minutes past the meeting time. Still waiting for Mayor-elect Mamdani to arrive at the White House. There seems to be music playing from the Rose Garden, but I can't make out what the song is. It's just faint enough that I can't make it out. It's driving me nuts. What's wrong with being a freak?
Oh, yes, I remember. He's saying on like a curve. Yeah.
Sounds like Cannibal Corpse. I don't think it's Cannibal Corpse.
Good to see you.
Drake, did I tell you good afternoon? Welcome in, my friend. Oh wait, I didn't see the other message. I didn't see the one you talk about your coder friend.
Hey, Alex.
Oh no, he's not a friend. He's got some bot scrubbing Twitter endlessly, coder freak. But no need to apologize. Coder in the streets, freaking the spreadsheets. Nancy. Yeah, let's not talk shit about Nancy.
It's more, you're totally blocked from my head. So.
She's gonna be my GOP mommy someday.
Yeah. Well, they already saw me on scene. I was just talking to my producer to make sure I had the right shot. And literally, like, CNN took a bump right at the same time.
I don't think 55 is bad, but apparently many people think 55 is pretty damn cold. My foot's kind of cold. Oh, she absolutely has had some sort of trauma. She was in the military. She went to military academy. I don't know if she actually served.
This meeting is still going to be closed, right?
This motherfucker over here looking like Prince Harry. We got chubby Prince Harry. Is it Prince Harry? Is the red?
No.
She never actually served. Okay, but she went to military school.
Are you in the pool today?
And like one of the Citadel or something or other. And she was the first female cadet.
One more question. Is it ever possible that they can come out to guest?
That's got like... Am I giving her props on that? Kinda, but like the bigger point I'm making is that's gonna fuck with your head. You know she got hazed. You know they were incredibly hard on her.
But that's the only time I've ever heard that.
Just that experience alone could have broke her.
I would only think it could happen because of his ego, like, what he wants to do.
And statistically speaking, she probably got sexually assaulted in the military.
Repos has come out here quite a bit. I mean, there's been.
You're built for something.
There's been other people that have come out here from after going in.
I think I don't like being hot. I really hate hot, humid hot. And I really hate being cold too, so I want to be somewhere where it's... I went to Hawaii when I was in high school, and it was like 74 with a breeze every day, and that's pretty fucking nice.
When are you going to state? When are you going to state?
State, they don't have much here.
One in 5 females in the military? I'd figure it was higher than that.
That's what I was making sure of. They were happy with, and that they were okay if I was surrounded by 100.
Oh, I've been to San Diego. It also is very nice. Oh shit, we have a raid. Tyler X. Welcome in, friends.
Andrew, what are you doing at the time of that hour?
Good afternoon. I am JustinFREAKIN. Very nice TV. Yes, we are currently waiting for New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani to arrive at the White House. It should be any minute now. He was scheduled to have a meeting with Trump at 3 o'clock. It's now 3:27 on the East Coast. So about 27 minutes late. I am JustinFREAKIN. This is the Troll Patrol Live. We find out what that news be doing Sunday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We also pop on and do shit like this. If you're on Twitch, we watch classic television. We have live music Mondays. Once upon a time, we watched classic wrestling on Saturdays. I'm going to get that going again. Join me all this coming week for classic television Thanksgiving specials.
No, we don't have a... Okay. She's got to be... Yeah, but why don't we trade? Yeah, okay. Good, X, and we're going to have the show.
I think everybody's caught up. This morning, 86 Democrats voted with almost all the Republicans
And because his camera's over there.
to condemn socialism
So she'll be
ahead of Mamdani's
where she is.
appearance at the White House this afternoon. We listened to Mamdani with Chris Hayes, I think it was from 2 nights ago, talk about how he thought this meeting would go. I think Trump's going to like him, but there is the possibility that he could get yelled at, Zelensky style. It is going to be very interesting to see how this goes. Agreed. Holiday, are you here? I need some shout outs.
Coming up in the world, if you will.
Oh, I may need to tell Holiday.
What are you doing at 4 o'clock? Or you just put it on tape? Yeah, well, that's we just figured out a way to get like same.
Grill. Also, thank you for being freaking followers. Fluffy Geek. TiVo it is. Stelly, welcome in. That's not Mamdani's style. He's slick.
What's everything?
And then yeah, you just turn it on when you need to.
But we'll see. I think somebody else in the chat pointed out it's possible that they could arrest him and deport him, because that has been floated on the right. I put that as like a 10%, 15% chance tops. It's not a zero. It's a non-zero number. But I think the most likely scenario is that Trump likes him. They get along. But I'm naive.
Right.
If you were just joining us, you should light one up, tip one back.
You're Willie Nelson High. You're smoking some of the best dope God ever put breath in.
While we are waiting for those that are just joining us, let me pull up this. It's an interview with Chris Hayes that we watched. He talked about his meeting with Trump. And we will watch this. Ooh, yeah, I was just packing a bowl. Yes, Curiouser. Rips indeed. Hold on. I will get this interview up. I think she's got the bong.
City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. Nice to have you here, Mr. Mayor-elect.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Is the White House meeting real? Who knows what's real these days, but do you understand it as a real thing?
We did reach out to the White House, and my team reached out because of a commitment that I made to New Yorkers, that I would be willing to meet with anyone and everyone so long as it was to the benefit of the 8.5 million people who call the city home and their struggle to afford the most expensive city in the United States of America.
Do you think a lot of people go into meetings with Donald Trump, I think, thinking they're going to be the one to get over on him? And I sometimes often think, I've watched this now for 10 years, they screw up because they think they underestimate him. Like, what is your goal for a meeting with Donald Trump? What do you want to come out of a meeting with Donald Trump?
I want to just speak plainly to the president about what it means to actually stand up for New Yorkers and the way in which New Yorkers are struggling to afford this city. And frankly, cost of living is something that I heard time and time again from New Yorkers about why they voted for Donald Trump. And this is something that is only continued in the last few months of this year, where we're hearing about childcare concerns, rent concerns, Con Ed concerns, even just getting on the bus just $2.90. And just to make it clear to the president that this is what we're talking about, these are the stakes for New Yorkers and their ability to keep calling the city their home.
Have you had any moments of buyer's remorse since you won?
No, I haven't. Because
there hasn't been a moment where you're like, oh my God, this job is insane. Come on.
I've enjoyed it. But, buyer's remorse would imply we were trying to buy the election. That was actually other people in the campaign. But
I mean, that was such a slick line. And I thought that was Hayes trying to give him advice.
On some detail of like, hey, here's how the sewage system works. Here's how this works. Where you're like, wow, I had no idea that was in my purview.
I have to be honest with you. It's more the excitement of being able to serve the city that I love and just getting able to understand the granularity of what makes our city run every single day. An incredible work.
That's what I mean. I mean, the amount that's invisible, right? Yeah. To make all of this work is shocking.
And you leave with a newfound appreciation for this city and the people whose names you don't know, who do the work that you would rather not do every single day. And those people do that work no matter who the mayor is. And I'm excited to be a mayor that recognizes their work, supports them in that work, and also understands that I'm a New Yorker and I'm going to have to deal with the opinions of many New Yorkers every single day. And sometimes they'll sound like they're supporting me when they're yelling at me, and that's fine.
I guess Trump is one of those New Yorkers.
Jumped out at me.
Well, wait a minute, he lives in Florida now.
Like, New York is a very sui generis place. It's not like a model for
sui generis. I got to be honest with you.
No,
what does sui generis mean?
Like completely unique. Like
there we go.
Of its own. Good. Okay. Good.
I want to be honest with you.
No, I like it. I like that.
No idea.
Sui generis. That is the word of the day.
I think it's hard. I think it's a hard place to export a model, right? But there's two things that struck me. One is young men exit polling at NBC News, where you saw Democrats perform much better than they had in 2024, both in Virginia and New Jersey. But the New York City number jumps out, plus 40. That's a big number. And then I saw an exit poll, and I think this is in some ways the most interesting, is you won 9% of Trump 2024 voters.
I didn't know that. I think that grounds Mamdani. Mamdani may have known what it meant.
From about 37 to about 43% between.
And asked just to appear more grounded.
That's an enormous shift. What do you credit that to?
Well, I think what we found is that if you listen to New Yorkers as opposed to lecturing them, they will start to see themselves in your movement. And, last presidential election, there were so many obituaries written for the Democratic Party's ability to get the trust of young people, young men especially, to get the trust of Asian
We've got some movement over here.
Of so many who were feeling left out of this political system. And what we found when we went to Hillside Avenue in Queens, went to Fordham Road in the Bronx, two of the neighborhoods with the largest swings towards Trump.
Let's flip back to the AP. They're in the Rose Garden. They've gone to the back side of the White House. Well, all the press just moved suddenly. It is now 3:36. This meeting was supposed to happen.
He's at the desk.
Evan?
They say he'll be at the desk. Yeah.
They say he'll be at the desk.
Yes.
Are they across from each other? How are they?
I don't know. There's people behind the desk.
There's people
Donald Trump's going to be at the desk.
So that's just going to cross over. Do that, you got the desk.
Demagogue. Demogorgon. Well, there is a demagogue in the White House. Uh-oh. Yeah, he's got other people in there with him. Is it going to be like Basant? Basant's in the doghouse right now. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
That's cool, right? Well, thank you very much. We've just had a great meeting, a really good, very productive meeting. We have one thing in common. We want this city of ours that we love to do very well. And I wanted to congratulate the mayor. He really ran an incredible race against, a lot of smart people, starting with the early primaries against some very tough people, very smart people. And he beat them easily. And I congratulated him. And we talked about some things in very strong common, like housing and getting housing built, and food and prices, and the price of oil.
He's standing over Trump. That's odd that they let him do that.
Good for New York. If I can get prices down, it's good for New York. And we've got them down, way down from last year. We have, as you know, I've been saying to a lot of people, Walmart said that Thanksgiving this year is exactly 25% less than last year. So that's good for New York, good for everybody. But I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have, hopefully, a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am, I will say. There's no difference in party. There's no difference in anything. And we're going to be helping him to make everybody's dream come true, having a strong and very safe New York. And congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Please.
I appreciated the meeting with the president, and as he said, it was a productive meeting focused on a place of shared admiration and love, which is New York City, and the need to deliver affordability to New Yorkers, the 8.5 million people who call our city their home, who are struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America. We spoke about rent, we spoke about groceries, we spoke about utilities, we spoke about the different ways in which people are being pushed out, and I appreciated the time with the president. I appreciated the conversation. I look forward to working together to deliver that affordability for New Yorkers.
Thank you very much. Any questions, please?
President Trump, Stephen Nelson from the New York Post. I've got a question for you and then also one for Mayor-elect.
Sure.
For you, you referred to Mr. Mamdani as a communist. Can you describe why you feel that way? And also, will you do anything to stop him from arresting Prime Minister Netanyahu if he visits New York?
Well, we didn't discuss your second part of the question. And on your first part, I mean, he's got views that are a little out there, but who knows? I mean, we're going to see what works, or he's going to change also. We all change. I changed a lot. From when I first came to office. Now, quite a while ago.
You change, I change.
First term was great. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We're doing even better now. We're doing much better now than we did even the first term. And I can tell you some of my views have changed. And we had discussions on some things. I'm not going to discuss what they were, but that I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he's going to be. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually, and some very liberal people. He won't surprise them because they already like him.
And Mr. Mamdani, it sounds like you had a productive discussion, but just days ago you referred to President Trump as a despot who betrayed the country. You said you'd be his worst nightmare and accused him of a fascist agenda. Are you planning to retract any of these remarks in order to improve your relationship?
I think both President Trump and I, we are very clear about our positions and our views, and what I really appreciate about the president is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. And frankly, that is something
fucking slick.
Transform the lives of the 8.5 million people who are currently struggling under a cost of living crisis, with 1 in 4 living in poverty. And the meeting came back again and again to what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers out of struggle and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in it.
And I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting. But maybe I think he'll change his mind.
So good at this. I told you.
Good.
I would like to ask you a question about the Middle East regarding
Sure.
you said that Hezbollah in Lebanon is not in a good position. And Lebanon now is the final unresolved after Gaza and Syria. Given your assessment, like what do you say for the Lebanese today? It's the independent state of Lebanon. And what is your next move to push toward?
I've been called worse than a despot. Come on.
Disarmament of Hamas and frankly everybody else. And we actually have peace in the Middle East. As you know, the King of Saudi Arabia just left yesterday.
This is amazing.
Meetings, and he's made a contribution toward the United States of more than $1 trillion. We have now over $20 trillion coming in. No country has ever had anything like that, not even close. If you go to 2 trillion or 1 trillion, it's a lot. We have 20 or 21 trillion dollars. I think that Hezbollah has been a problem in Lebanon, big problem. We're working with Lebanon. We're working with everybody in the Middle East. That's another thing I think we have in common. We want to see peace in the Middle East, and we actually have now, for the first time, peace in the Middle East after 3,000 years. And now we're going to refine it, and I think you're going to see some very positive things happen.
There is a potential to invite the Lebanese president.
Oh, sure. Oh, I would do that, absolutely. And if the mayor would like to be here for that meeting, because I know he feels very strongly. I think you feel very, very strongly about peace in the Middle East. I think
we desperately want it, and that's something that I shared with the president, that when I spoke to New Yorkers who had voted for the president last November on Hillside Avenue and Fordham Road, I asked them why. I heard again and again two major reasons. One was that they wanted an end to forever wars. They wanted an end to the taxpayer dollars we had funding violations of human rights, and they wanted to address the cost of living crisis. And I appreciated the chance to discuss both of those things.
He said a lot of my voters actually voted for him, and I'm okay with that. I'll do that. I'll sign it.
1 in 10.
Give it to me. I'll sign it in a minute. That's pretty good.
Mr. President,
please.
You threatened to send federal troops to New York City. You both have differences when it comes to ICE agents in New York City. Mr. Mamdani, you called ICE a rogue government entity. I wonder how you reconcile your differences on both of those issues.
Well, I think we're going to work them out, and I think that if we have known murderers and known drug dealers and some very bad people, you know, we want to get them out. And the mayor wants to have peace. We discussed this at great length, actually, maybe more than anything else. He wants to have a safe New York. Ultimately, a safe New York is going to be a great New York. If it's not safe, no matter how well we do with pricing and with anything else, we can talk about.
I fucking knew it.
If you don't have safe streets, it's not going to be a success. So we're going to work together. We're going to make sure that if there are horrible people there, we want to get them out. I think he wants to get them out maybe more than I do. So we'll work together. We discussed it at great length. Yes, please.
Yeah, two questions, if I may. One for you, Mr. President, from BBC in a second. But first of all, for the mayor-elect. You're both from different parts of the political spectrum. You're both populists, though. And I just wondered to what extent the president's campaign style, his techniques, his social media use inspired any part of your campaign.
Well, I actually told the president that, you know, so much of the focus of our campaign has been on the cost of living crisis. And when we asked those New Yorkers who had voted for the president, when we saw an increase in his numbers in New York City, that came back to the same issue: cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. And they spoke about the cost of groceries, the cost of rent, the cost of Con Ed, the cost of childcare. And too often, politicians are looking to lecture to New Yorkers what they should care about, as opposed to listen. And when we spoke to those voters who voted for President Trump, we heard them speak about cost of living. We focus on that same cost of living, and that's where I am really looking forward to delivering for New Yorkers in partnership with the president on the affordability agenda.
And I think we have to work a little bit. We talked about Con Edison. We have to work a little bit on getting the prices, because, you know, we've gotten fuel prices way down, but it hasn't shown up in Con Edison. And we're going to have to talk to them. You know, if we're sending them fuel at a much lower price than it was a year ago, which is true, we have to get Con Edison to start lowering their rates.
Absolutely.
And if I may, last week you told me you were pushing ahead with your plans to sue BBC for up to $5 billion. You're going to speak to Prime Minister Starmer as well. Is there any progress or any updates on those issues?
Well, we get along very well with the Prime Minister. We made a deal with UK. I like him. He's a fine person. And, you know, I think they have some big energy problems. You know, they've got windmills all over the place. They're going to have to
Starmer's a fine person.
The methods, because
poor Lord, are you here?
Talking about in the UK, it's out of control. And he's got that problem. He's got a big immigration problem, as you know, and he's got a big energy problem. And we talk about it. He's a good man. Prime Minister's a good man.
You had a chance to speak this week.
I haven't spoken this week.
Mr. President, have you spoken to President
What'd they dope Trump up on?
Zelensky about your plan? Did you meet with him?
I've spoken with their people. We have a plan. It's horrible what's happening. It's a war that should have never happened. It would have never happened if I was president, and it's a shame. And I thought they should have acted quicker. But it's
He's a very loving Trump this afternoon.
A lot of you talk about utilities, but a lot of the big energy-producing plants have been under attack, to put it mildly, to put it nicely. We have a way of getting peace, or we think we have a way of getting peace. He's going to have to approve it. Just so sad, so many people. You know, last month they lost 25,000 soldiers. This is something, we haven't seen anything like this since the Second World War. And they're averaging 6,000 or 7,000 a week between the two of them, dead soldiers.
He's not let go of his hand. He's covering a bruise, isn't he?
I think they're getting reasonably close, but I don't want to predict. I would have said that would have been one of my early ones. I did 8 peace deals of countries, including in India, Pakistan. You could even go, in fact, they're coming here in a week or two, go to the Congo and Rwanda. That was 10 million people dead, and we worked something out on that. But so many, and the one I thought would have been, for me, because I have a very good relationship with President Putin, I thought that would have been...
He does it when he's covering that bruise.
It does take 2 to tango.
Which is like a monthly thing or something.
You just see all the death. And, you know, it doesn't affect us other than the fact that we don't want to see all those people that really, it's on the other side of the ocean. It's a war that should have never happened. It did happen. I blame the person also.
So this motherfucker talks with his hands.
This is a war that should have never happened, and it wouldn't have happened if I were president. But we're trying to save a lot of lives. They're losing 25,000 lives over the last short period of time. That's Ukrainian and Russian, and it's a shame.
What happens if President? I want to ask the mayor-elect about a House resolution just passed overwhelmingly to condemn socialism, including
Yeah, ask him about that.
all of House Dem leadership and the minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries, despite his endorsement of you. What's your reaction to that?
I have to be honest with you, I focused very little on resolutions. Frankly, I've been focusing...
Condemn socialism.
I understand. I think the focus is on the work at hand. I can tell you I am someone who is a democratic socialist. I've been very open about that. And I know there might be differences about ideology, but the place of agreement is the work that needs to be done to make New York City affordable. That's what I look forward to.
And I want to clarify your answer to Stephen Nelson. He asked about your comment calling the president a fascist, and your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay, you can just say yes.
Okay.
It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
And Mr. President, I wanted to ask you also about this Ukraine plan. President Zelensky said today that his country would risk either giving up a partner or giving up...
Did everyone just see that?
...criticism that this deal...
You mean he doesn't like it?
It's unclear. He was sort of
Well,
tenuous.
he'll have to like it, and if he doesn't like it, then, you know, they should...
They have given Ukraine a week.
That you made, though, was that if he doesn't accept it, that the U.S. would pull back its support for Ukraine. Is that
Well, at some
accurate?
point he's going to have to accept something. You know, he hasn't accepted. You remember right in the Oval Office not so long ago, I said, you don't have the cards. Don't forget, I inherited this war. I would have never, this war never would have happened. I inherited this war. And I thought he should have made a deal a year ago.
Clinically, I think they like each other.
The deal would have been if it never started. That would have been the good deal. That could have been done too.
We got a very loving Trump this afternoon.
Mr. President, cost of living is something that you and Mr. Mamdani seem to agree on.
Right.
Democrats have run New York City for a long time, Mr. Mamdani. Do you see Democrat policy specifically as being a problem? And I'd like that to be a question that both of you could answer in New York City.
Look, I think that there are many things in our city where we have to own the responsibility of it, things that existed long before the president was the president. And those are also part of the message of our campaign, was to take on a broken politics of the past. And I ran against a number of candidates who represented different versions of that past. And what we found time and again is that working people were left behind in the politics of our city. And what we're looking to do is put those people right back at the heart of our politics, so that we don't have a situation where we're in the wealthiest city in the history of the world, and yet 1 in 5 can't even afford $2.90 for a Metro card.
Mr. Mamdani.
You know, we had some interesting conversation, and some of his ideas really are the same ideas that I have. But a big thing on cost, you know, the new word is affordability. Another word is just...
Oh, I totally called it.
An old-fashioned word, but it's...
I knew he was going to charm Trump.
They're coming down high. They were...
This is amazing.
Both of us, we had the highest inflation in the history of our country the last 4 years under the Biden administration, and we've got inflation down now to a normal number. It's going to go even a little bit lower than that. Katie, do you have something?
Come on, man. Mr. Mamdani often talks about New York City being covered by international law, that they will follow international law. Doesn't often talk about the U.S. Constitution. What is your response to that?
Well, I don't know what you're referring to in terms of it could be covered by international law, local law. It's covered by a lot of laws, but it's covered by U.S. law.
The best laws.
Are you referring to anything in particular?
He just says that they're a city that endorses and enforces international law. Is that at odds with?
No, I don't know. Would you want to respond?
Yeah, I think what I've shared with the president is our desire to not only follow the laws of our own city, laws that protect New Yorkers, but also a desire for consistency in our politics across the board. And that's something that we've talked about, and something that I know many New Yorkers want.
So you were with ICE? We were with ICE then?
We discussed ICE and New York City, and I spoke about how the laws that we have in New York City allow for New York City government to...
He has not moved those hands.
Serious crimes. The concerns that many New Yorkers have are around the enforcement of immigration laws on New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, and most recently we're talking about a mother and her 2 children, how this has...
This is the dude that be double dicking everywhere.
What we did is we discussed crime more than...
With his little fucking tiny hands.
He doesn't want to see crime, and I don't want to see crime, and I have very little doubt that we're not going to get along on that issue. He wants to... And he said some things that were very interesting as to housing construction, and he wants to see houses go up. He wants to see a lot of houses created, a lot of apartments built, etc. And you know,
and this is why we were at the desk instead of. I showed you the picture earlier. That's where the other side at the
Mr. President, I want to know one of the policies as well that Mayor
he did a point.
Number of times about it on the campaign.
They're usually at the fireplace and not at the desk.
From what he called minority communities to white-based communities, and putting more taxes on white people. I also noticed that in your acceptance speech you didn't mention anything about...
He's cracking jokes with Trump! Oh my God!
I didn't know if that was one of the policies that you guys had spoken about.
We focused on affordability. We focused on the cost of living crisis. What I will say is that I am very much interested in property tax reform, because what we see right now in New York City is a system that is so inequitable that it can't even stand up in court. And the president and I spoke about the importance of not only building more housing, but also making sure that regulation of housing is something that is manageable to actually get through, and not the cause of yet another weight that we see in our city.
He winked at somebody.
Race-based property taxes.
No, to be very clear,
That's what you said.
no, the use of the term was a description of neighborhoods, not a description of intent.
So you intend to tax the whiter neighborhoods more?
No, we intend to create a fair property tax system, because we want a New York City that is not only fair and equitable, but also one that every New Yorker can afford.
He's so slick.
Please, God.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters just targeted a synagogue in New York. Are you concerned about Jewish New Yorkers feeling welcome and safe in the city? And President Trump, you threatened to cut off federal funding to New York City. What policies would prompt you to do that? Would that be city-run grocery stores? Would it be something else?
Well, I think if we didn't get along, whether it's cut off or just make it a little bit difficult or not give as much, we want to see, I use the term,
but they get along.
Money going after bad, and we just, we don't want that to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I did say that, you know, subject to what policies are being said. We had a meeting today that actually surprised me. He wants to see no crime. He wants to see housing being built. He wants to see rents coming down, all things that I agree with. Now, we may disagree how we get there. The rent coming down, I think one of the things I really gleaned very much today, he'd like to see him come down, ideally, by building a lot of additional housing. Yeah. That's the ultimate way. He agrees with that, and so do I. But if I read the newspapers and the stories, I don't hear that. But I heard him say it today, and I think that's a very positive step. No, I don't expect. I expect to be helping him, not hurting him. A big help, because I want New York City to be great. Look, I love New York City. It's where I come from. I spent a lot of years there. Now I'm right.
Yeah, I wonder if he knows about Legos.
We took a big setback with the mayor that we had, Dave de Blasio.
Donald Trump would love Legos.
A setback for the city. I think this mayor can do some things that are going to be really great.
Mr. President,
okay, how about you? Go ahead, please.
You're a billionaire. You have a different address nowadays than you used to, but you used to call New York City home. Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani administration?
Yeah, I would. I really would. Especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought. I think I want him to do a great job, and we'll help him do a great job. You know, he may have different views, but in many ways, you know, we were discussing when Bernie Sanders was out of the race, I picked up a lot of his votes, and people had no idea, because he was strong on not getting ripped off.
No, I had an idea.
Practiced and been very successful on tariffs, a lot of things. Bernie Sanders and I agreed on much more than people thought. And when he was put out of the race, I think quite unfairly, if you want to know the truth, many of the Bernie Sanders voters voted for me. And I felt very comfortable, frankly, in seeing that and saying that. And, you know, it just turned out to be a statistical truth. But, no, I feel very comfortable. I would feel very, very comfortable being in New York, and I think much more so after the meeting. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question for you, but a very quick one for the mayor. Why did you fly here? Aren't trains greener?
I'll use every form of transit, and I want to make sure that they're all affordable in New York City, and that's why making buses fast and free is a centerpiece of our campaign.
There is a bus that goes.
Well, but I know, but if he flew, that's a lot quicker too. You know, I mean, he's working very hard. For him to be, that's a very long drive. I'll stick up for you. You know, the plane takes you 30 minutes, and driving takes you a
And
long
Mr.
time.
President, I was wondering if you could clear up some confusion around a Washington Post report. There was this explosive report that the Coast Guard is no longer going to characterize swastikas and nooses as hate symbols. DHS called that a
yeah, explain that.
News. Can you clear up?
I don't know anything about it. When was this written?
I think yesterday.
Well, look, the Coast Guard's an incredible group of people. I know them very well. We just ordered a lot of new Coast Guard cutters. Beautiful, the most magnificent ship. They look like yachts with lots of guns on them. So I don't know. I haven't seen any report like that, but certainly we want them to remain a great force, and they are.
Mr. President, and you did the piece in all the 9 months around the world. I would like to ask Mr. Mamdani, you've accused the U.S. government of committing genocide in Gaza.
Yeah, it's all those private jets.
Why?
They don't actually carry a lot of people places.
The Israeli government committing genocide, and I've spoken about our government funding it. And I shared with the president in our meeting about the concern that
Ooh, very nice. That's what we're going to watch right after this is over. We'll watch Fox News.
And their ability to afford basic dignity. And what we see right now is we're in the 9th consecutive year of more than 100,000 school children being homeless in our city. And there's a desperate need not only for the following of human rights, but also the following through on the promises we've made New Yorkers. And I appreciated the meeting we had and the work that we can do.
Do you agree that President Trump did do a peace and worked hard to make the peace? Because he worked hard to do the peace in the Middle East and everywhere. Do you agree with that?
I appreciate all efforts towards peace, and I shared with President Trump that when I spoke to Trump voters on Hillside Avenue, including one of whom was a pharmacist that spoke about how President Trump's father actually went to that pharmacy not too far from Jamaica Estates, that people were tired of seeing our tax dollars fund endless wars. And I also believe that we have to follow through on the international human rights, and I know that still today those are being violated, and that continues to be work that has to be done no matter where we're speaking of.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. President. Do you view the mayor-elect as the true leader of the Democrat Party? And do you think Leader Schumer is a leader Jeffries follow his lead?
Well, look, hope they have great leaders. This is a man that right now I think is focused on New York City. I really think he has a chance to do a great job. We're going to help him, but I really think he has a chance to do a great job. But I'll let you answer that. You consider yourself the leader of the Democrats? I think it's more appropriate for him.
I consider myself the next mayor of New York City, and I keep my horizons firmly on New York City, and I appreciate the meeting with the president, which focused again on the 5 boroughs and whether New Yorkers could afford to live there.
By the way, being the mayor of New York City is a big deal.
Absolutely.
I always said, one of the things I would love to be someday is the mayor of New York.
Comedian, welcome in.
New York, and especially now, because...
No, I knew this was going to happen, because Mamdani is charming.
It could go great, or it can go in a different direction. And
you butter Trump up a little bit, and it goes a long way.
Mr. President, you say you love New York City. Mr. Mamdani, does New York City love President Trump?
New York City loves a future that is affordable, and I can tell you that there were more New Yorkers who voted for President Trump in the most recent presidential election because of that focus on cost of living, and I'm looking forward to working together to deliver on that affordability agenda.
I got a lot of votes. One more. Go ahead. 1 or 2 more. Go ahead. I tell you, the press has eaten this thing up. I've had a lot of meetings with the heads of major countries.
I am very excited to see what Fox News is going to say.
Meeting, you people have gone crazy. Outside you have hundreds of people waiting. This is just a small little group. For some reason, the press has found this to be a very interesting meeting.
Very interesting.
People in the world, they come over from countries nobody cares, but they did care about this meeting, and it was a great meeting. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. President, I was going to ask you exactly that. Why do you think there's so much more, so much excitement around this than in some form?
Because I think he's different. All right, I think he's different, and that can be in a very positive way. But I think he's different than, your typical guy runs, wins, becomes mayor maybe, and nothing exciting. Because he has a chance to really do something great for New York. New York is at a very critical point, and he does need the help of the federal government to really succeed, and we're going to be helping him. But he's different than, your average candidate. He came out of nowhere. I said he has a great campaign manager standing over there. He came out of...
Trump appreciates his win.
Would you start off at 1 or 2? And then I watched. I said, who is this guy? He was at 1. Then he was at 3, then he was at 5, then he was at 9. Then he went up to 17. I said, that's getting a little bit interesting, right?
Trump likes to be associated with winners.
Nobody expected he was going to win. It's a great tribute. I mean, it's an amazing thing that he did.
And I'll just add one thing to what the president said. Is one thing I also appreciated is in our meeting to appreciate a portrait of FDR and the incredible work that was done with the New Deal, and also in thinking about what it can look like when the federal government and New York City government work together to deliver on affordability. It can be transformative.
We have a great portrait of FDR that I found in the vaults that was missing for years. I found it, and I put it up. He's a Democrat, to the best of my knowledge. He's a Democrat. And when the mayor saw that portrait, he said, "Sir, do you mind if I have a picture taken by that portrait?" It's an amazing portrait. I hope the picture comes out.
See, he was able to compliment Trump.
The cabinet room.
Highlight FDR. Fuck.
I guess, and of FDR. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said that you both spoke about crime.
Yeah.
There are many police officers set to come off the rolls at the end of this year in New York City. Are you going to allow those police to be replaced with police officers, actual cops? And are you going to require that happens? Would there be some consequence?
Well, I hope it happens, but again, that's going to be ultimately the mayor's decision.
What's your answer?
Is that I look forward to delivering public safety with the NYPD, and I've said over the course of our campaign that we have the number of police officers today. They are the ones that's budgeted about 35,000 headcount. And I think the key thing is that we have to make it easier for police to focus on police work, not ask them to respond to 200,000 mental health calls a year.
So is that a reduction from what you're at right now? Are you committing to maintaining the same level of cops?
I've committed over the course of the campaign to maintain the 35,000. That's the headcount that we had through the campaign.
Neither of them had anything to gain.
No, I've said that's the headcount.
By this being adversarial.
Sure they can focus on serious crime.
And he just retained a great police commissioner, I believe, right?
Yes.
Promethean, I agree.
If the newspapers are correct.
That one they're correct about.
He retained, I think, somebody that is a...
Blue Magic, welcome in.
Some of the people...
Kiss the ring,
And they say she's really good, really competent, and he just retained her, so that's a good sign.
Are there still topics that you see that you're disagreeing on in the and do you think you'll have more meetings like this?
There will be topics that we disagree on. I think we'll probably come to a conclusion, and ultimately he'll convince me or I'll convince him. You know, it's for the good of New York. Ultimately, it's for the good of New York. I don't care about affiliations or parties or anything else. I want to see if this city could be unbelievable, if he could be a spectacular success, I'd be very happy.
Do you think you guys will meet more in the future too?
Excuse me?
Do you think you'll meet again in the future, throughout the administration?
I think we will. Yeah. I think we will. I hope we do. I enjoyed the meeting. We had a great meeting. Please.
Mr. President, Republican Elise Stefanik has campaigned multiple times by calling Zohran Mamdani a jihadist. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist right now in the Oval Office?
No, I don't, but she's out there campaigning, and you know, you say things sometimes in a campaign.
Isn't that sort of
She's a very capable person, but you really have to ask her about that. But you know, I don't particularly. I think I met with I met with a man who's a very rational person. I met with a man who really wants to see New York be great again, and I can say again, because New York was great. You know, when I came down to Washington initially, the city was so hot; it was doing great. We were having some telltale signs of problems. We had a mayor that was not doing a great job, but still, it was moving along, and it went bad. It really went, you know, pretty bad. And he can. I think it's been at lower points, but it went pretty bad. I think he can bring it back. Now the question is, will he bring it back all the way? Will he bring it back greater than ever before? Which is, I guarantee, that's his wish. I think he wants to make it greater than ever before. And if he can, we'll be out there cheering. I'll be cheering for him. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody.
You chose not to answer the question about the city hall.
Thank you very much.
Oh, no, I care very deeply about
There wasn't really a bruise on his hand.
rooting out anti-Semitism across the 5 boroughs and protecting Jewish New Yorkers and every New Yorker who calls the city hall. Very well.
Yeah, this is exactly how I expected this to go down. Mamdani is a likable guy. Trump is a charismatic guy. What I didn't know was that they were gonna meet before they talk to the press, because usually, you know, like a state meeting, they'll come in, they'll sit down, they'll take questions from the press, and they'll go in and have an actual meeting. Oh yeah, let's go to Fox News. We need the immediate reaction.
Mamdani meeting the Oval Office for the first time following months of heated back and forth.
Trump is charismatic. That doesn't mean likable or good.
And they shared a friendly handshake at some point.
He is charismatic.
They ended with a handshake. The mood in the room today, pretty different than what they were talking about when they were talking about each other over the past few months. Here's the president sounding complimentary of Mr. Mamdani.
We've just had a great meeting, a really good, very productive meeting. We have one thing in common. We want this city of ours that we love to do very well. And I wanted to congratulate the mayor. He really ran. And
Fuck, I used to love Trump before he got into politics, and even when he first started getting into politics,
against some
calling into Fox and talking shit about Democrats. It was hilarious.
He loves the campaign, Democrat or Republican. He always likes the strategy and how it plays.
I wouldn't describe the charisma he has as Riz.
During
No,
the campaign, they stayed focused.
Riz to me implies a certain kind of
the meeting that we had focused not on
coolness,
disagreement, which there
and
are.
that's not the kind of charisma he has.
Focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. And frankly, that is something that could transform the lives of the 8.5 million people who are currently struggling under a cost of living crisis, with 1 in 4 living in poverty. And the meeting came back again and again to what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers out of struggle and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in it.
Right, that's the goal. They seem to have the same goal, but how they do it is key. So when the press brought up that Mamdani had previously called,
I'm so glad it's Kilmeade.
The president kind of laughed it off.
I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting.
Well, joining me now on set to react to this pretty incredible meeting, the host of Making Money on Fox Business, our good friend Charles Payne. I also like Jason Chaffetz a lot, and he's a Fox News contributor. Charles, are you surprised about the tone and tenor that we just heard?
Not necessarily. I've seen Trump do this before with a lot of people, that, he has a major differences. I think he's more focused on the possibilities. And I like that. Let's stay on the possibilities. What can we do?
Are they interchangeable? Because, like, to me, Riz implies cool.
To make sure it doesn't descend any.
Oh, they got Riz. They're like fucking, Fonzie.
The definition of great, also different. And there were certain things.
Charisma doesn't necessarily imply cool.
For instance, we're going to help. We want to help. In other words, hey, we'll be there for you as long as you do the right thing. And the right thing will mean not going through with a lot of those campaign promises like a war on corporate America.
What about the raising of taxes? I mean, I know he can't do it, but that's what he's going to campaign on. He's going to put pressure on Kathy Hochul, who wants to get reelected, Jason, to do that. And he wants to make New York more affordable by taxing people who can afford it.
Let's remember that Joe Biden and the Democrats.
I didn't say it was a synonym for cool either, but it's a charisma that implies a certain type of coolness.
Period, and everybody's trying to dig out from underneath that. Trump will help.
We're getting all pedantic in the chat.
$17 billion budget for that city. They're going to need every federal dime that they possibly can. I thought both sides were magnanimous. That's what you want to see in America, reaching their hand out, working across the aisle. They have serious differences. But I got to tell you, I also think that Donald Trump really nationwide wins on this meeting.
Motherfucker used to be a congressman.
Democrats have done nothing but demonize
Jason
the president of the
Chaffetz.
United States. Could he have been nicer? Could he have been more polite, more magnanimous in trying to help? No. And so I think it's good for both sides, but it's really good for President Trump.
You know what's interesting, Charles, is who's not nice to Mamdani or talks about him? Senator Gillibrand, Senator Schumer. Not a word. Hakeem Jeffries, I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to sit down with him. Yeah. Oh, I'll give you an endorsement. Now I got to run. Now all of a sudden the president goes, hey, I like this socialist. So he could kind of elevate him and cause more turmoil within the Democratic Party. Do you think that could be his calculus?
That's part of it. That's definitely part of it.
Hey, that was actually
gave him a lot of credibility. He gave him a lot more credibility.
Damn, that was
level
really insightful.
What you're talking about. There's obviously an internal war within the Democratic Party. And the young folks have thrown down the gauntlet. The AOCs of the world.
They are primarying Hakeem Jeffries.
Yeah,
they look like with the socialists.
Yeah. So they have thrown down the gauntlet, and there's a changing of the guard, and he just put his weight behind the upstarts.
So FDR, which, by the way, on What Made America Great, I did a great feature on his library, first ever. He brought up FDR. What did he have? Socialist programs, a New Deal. I want you to hear what he did when the FDR name came up, and he said, that's an example of a president that helped the social safety net, actually formed it. Watch.
One thing I also appreciated is in our meeting to appreciate a portrait of FDR and the incredible work that was done with the New Deal, and also in thinking about what it can look like when the federal government and New York City government work together to deliver on affordability. It can be transformative.
So here's the deal. America, the ethos of America, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, right? The reason we were able to supercharge our economy and leapfrog the rest of the world in the 1800s, and the reason that started to dwindle, the first big hit to that was FDR. Yeah, obviously he did some things that were necessary.
Coming out of the Depression, getting ready for World War II.
But still, the beginning of big government, the beginning of the notion that, hey, you can't do it without government. So it began then, and it picked up again in the late 60s and 70s. And that's the battle we have in this country. Are we still that nation that can pull itself up by the bootstraps? Remember, FDR promoted the 4 freedoms. I didn't have a problem.
Fucking pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
I think it's what drives us as human beings. We want something, so we work for it. We achieve it. You don't take that from people. You don't take the idea of accountability from people and say government will do it all. You just sit at home and collect, food stamps, eat Fruit Loops, don't live up to your potential.
Nobody is saying that.
The God-given gifts that you were born with.
Right.
That's what made us the greatest country in the world, and that's my misgivings with FDR.
So, Jason, play this out. If he does want to do these socialist programs, rebalance money, and make sure that all these social programs, free daycare, free buses, freeze the rent, how's that going to work? The math is not going to work.
Well, look, picking up on what we're hearing from this meeting today and following up on what Charles Payne was saying, it's what Abraham Lincoln said. You don't make a weak man strong by making a strong man weak. And Mamdani has a fundamentally different approach than conservatives, which is, hey, guess what? There is no problem which government can't be involved and engaged in.
Right.
That is so fundamentally different. So, yeah, he's got 600.
So why not point it out if you're President Trump? Just not the way he does things?
You don't need to do it on the
Okay.
meeting one, but all of a sudden, how's he going to come up? You get some softball question prior to this meeting. How are you going to come up with the $600 or $700 million to give everybody free bus passes? Well, we'll figure out how to fund that later. How are you going to do the grocery stores? How are you going to take that over? How are you going to push out all the
He had a funding proposal.
campaign promises? Donald Trump, I'm telling you, it's a master class in working
A
with
2% tax on the wealth. And as he pointed out,
that set the bar so high.
they spent more money
Don't move.
trying to
Jackie
beat
Apple's
him in the
those great questions
election
right in the Oval Office moments
than
ago.
they would
She
have
was
been
in the room.
taxed
Jackie,
under his
your
plan.
impression of the get-together we all witnessed.
You know, it was a surprise to see those two getting along as well as they did. A couple of times I asked
Was not surprising, at least in my opinion.
question, and the president almost helped him dodge it. Take a listen to one of them.
I want to ask the mayor-elect about a House resolution just passed overwhelmingly to condemn socialism, including with 86 Democrats, all of House Dem leadership, and the Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, despite his endorsement of you. What's your reaction to that?
I have to be honest with you, I focused very little on resolutions. Frankly, I've been focusing...
Socialism.
I understand. I think the focus is on the work at hand. I can tell you I am someone who is a democratic socialist. I've been very open about that. And I know there might be differences about ideology, but the place of agreement is the work that needs to be done to make New York City affordable. That's what I look forward to.
Oh, it cut off a little bit early, but I followed up asking the president, or asking Mamdani rather, to clarify an answer that he gave earlier where he seemed to confirm that he does believe President Trump is a fascist, and the president jumped in and said, you don't have to answer that, you can just say yes. There were substantive conversations, we are told, about crime and public safety and how the two sides can work together. The president said that regular folks would be surprised at how much they do agree on. He expressed that the mayor-elect has some interesting ideas about housing and some other cost of living issues that maybe they could find some agreement toward. I asked, because crime and public safety kept coming up so many times, if that meant working together on ICE and having ICE agents do the work that we are seeing in so many other cities. Zohran Mamdani had, obviously said that he does not believe that ICE should exist and have the role that it's having across the country. And he said in his answer that there are, I believe, 173 areas of serious crimes in which they will work together. So that was interesting. You also heard the mayor-elect affirm that he will keep the New York City police force 35,000 strong. And that was significant. And the president multiple times seemed to downplay the idea that maybe they would not be able to work together despite all of this fiery rhetoric on the campaign. You hear President Trump routinely call Mamdani a communist. You routinely hear Mamdani talk about how his administration is going to be a nightmare for the president. But there was not that tension in the room. They were clearly trying to find ways to move forward together. And President Trump also made clear that this is, about New York City, the city where he, built his life and career, has a lot of love and affection for. He even said that one day, he longed to be the mayor of New York City. That's how much he loves that city. And so he's wishing Mamdani a lot of success. Brian.
Right, they start off on the right foot. Remember, they got to let Cuomo.
Yeah, why couldn't you just ran for mayor of New York City as the president?
They blew up famously with each other, and they rallied together at the end. Jackie, great job, great tough questions. You had two people trying to parry them at the same time.
Opportunistic.
Exactly what you were going for. I appreciate it.
I absolutely, positively believe, to answer your question, I believe he is an opportunistic fascist. I don't think he has an ideology whatsoever. It could, that's also like the nature-nurture question. It could be a little bit of both. I can see that. Very nice TV, but I absolutely believe it's opportunistic. He is only concerned about what he craves acceptance and love and adulation. And at one time, just the facade of being rich. Let's do a couple news stories here. And then we're going to go to Twitch only and watch a police chase. Because that's the fun shit. Maybe we'll do some Thanksgiving specials. Warlord, welcome in. Apparently, Zelensky in the last hour has released this statement.
President Volodymyr Zelensky says Ukraine has to confront the possibility of losing its dignity or risking the loss of a key partner as it figures out how to respond to a US peace proposal to end the war with Russia.
Зараз один з найважчих моментів нашої історії. Зараз тиск на Україну один з найважчих.
The US plan
I guess I gotta translate.
to end the war with Russia.
Зараз один з найважчих.
This is one of the most difficult moments in our history.
Зараз тиск.
Currently, the pressure on Ukraine is one of the hardest.
The US plan contains many of Russian President Vladimir Putin's long-standing demands, while offering limited security guarantees to Ukraine. The Kremlin says it has not officially received the 28-point peace plan, and a European official who spoke to the AP on condition of anonymity said the plan wasn't officially presented to Ukraine's European backers either. The plan foresees Ukraine handing over territory to Russia, something Zelensky has repeatedly ruled out. It reduces the size of its army and blocks its route to NATO membership. US President Donald Trump says he wants an answer from Zelensky on the plan by Thursday, but says an extension is possible to finalize the terms.
Meanwhile, the House Oversight Committee, in like the last hour, says they believe there has been an intense White House cover-up of the Epstein files.
Some breaking news. Several sources tell MS Now the House Oversight Committee believes there's been a, quote, intense White House cover-up on the Jeffrey Epstein files. The sources acknowledge that Attorney General
I just said that, Ginseng.
investigation into Epstein's ties to Democratic politicians could be, quote, weaponized, and as Democrats have been suggesting, used to redact or withhold documents. Joining me now is James Marsh, an attorney who represents several Epstein survivors. I wonder what your reaction is to that new reporting.
Well, I think we sort of saw the writing on the wall when this bill was rushed through this week, that sort of conveniently came out that there's new investigations after so many years of there being no investigations. And this was obviously one thing that my clients are concerned about that'll keep full transparency and accountability under wraps for, conceivably years.
You represent survivor Maria Farmer, who was one of the first women to ever report Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell for sex trafficking. She's now suing the government for alleged negligence over when she reported the alleged abuse and other crimes. Take a listen.
They literally just hung up and I heard nothing for 10 years. It's been very an arduous journey, over 29 years of just trying to get people to hear me. Pretty much I dedicated all of my youth to this.
She dedicated her youth at a time when she just got pushed back, delayed. Now, we should note the FBI has declined to comment on the suit, but can you tell us more about it and where it stands now?
No, absolutely. I mean, what's interesting about Maria Farmer is she did actually complain not only to the NYPD, but to the FBI 30 years ago. We have a copy of her record from the FBI, and it's almost 90% redacted. So let's start with that.
90% redacted.
1996. Jeffrey Epstein is already well known to federal law enforcement. He was one of the leading personas in the Tower financial scandal, which until Bernie Madoff was the largest financial scandal in U.S. history. So he's a key witness in that and an unindicted co-conspirator. And then the State Department had also rented him, believe it or not, the Iranian consulate in New York City where he was living and engaged in a lease dispute with him during this same period of time. So he wasn't a random unknown person when Maria called. Quite the contrary. He was very well known to law enforcement. And what's most curious about her case is they found her 10 years later. It's not like she heard something in the news, called them up again and said, hey, what happened to my complaint? They found her 10 years later and contacted her about what was happening with Jeffrey Epstein leading up to his eventual conviction. So there's a lot of unanswered questions in Maria's case, but we do have the records. We know that there's at least 29, 30 pages. Most of it is redacted. So let's focus on that first. I don't know that, they called up Bill Clinton or Donald Trump to say, who's this Maria Farmer person? Let's start with her record, and I think it'll uncover a lot about the origins of Jeffrey Epstein.
We have less than a minute, but 90% redacted. To your knowledge and to her knowledge, is that necessary to protect either ongoing case or, as the Republicans like to say, the privacy of the people involved?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, it's not 90% names of victims, right? It's not, she didn't report anyone. Her sister was also involved in what happened with her. So we know there's not 90% names of victims. We do want to know what else is in there and which government officials were responsible for enabling Jeffrey Epstein and helping cover up his activities. That's what the focus of this lawsuit is on. Not any of the politics you're hearing about today, but who in the government knew? What did they know? When did they know it? And why did not they pursue Jeffrey
Epstein? You can't handle the truth.
Who at the time was a notorious criminal.
Okay, we're doing some quick stories here. We're going to go to, okay, first of all, I didn't get to cover this the other night. Or yesterday. I wanted to cover this yesterday. There was a police chase that ended with, and I don't think we have the chase. I've looked for it. I don't know if it happened. They've taken it down because of what happened in the chase. Or if it just, it happened so fast that there wasn't a helicopter on it. The California Highway Patrol investigating a crash that killed an Alhambra police officer.
Alhambra police are remembering one of their newest officers, 28-year-old Alex Sanders, died in a high-speed crash just weeks after being sworn in. As family and colleagues pay their respects, questions still linger about the crash that killed him and one other person. NBC4's Camilla Romaldi live in Alhambra with the investigation for us. Camilla?
Michael, the crash site here has now been cleared, but earlier Valley Boulevard was blocked off for hours, and we're standing right by where that crash happened, right by the intersection. And the officer who died was in an SUV. Authorities say there were 3 people inside the second car. Now,
it's a Wiener Schnitzel.
The crash was initially reported as
I've never had Wiener Schnitzel.
The California Highway Patrol is leading this investigation and says that at this time they're calling
in the chat had Wiener Schnitzel.
Their investigation continues.
I just like saying Wiener
Debris
Schnitzel.
from this deadly crash early this morning can be seen stretched across West Valley Boulevard in Alhambra. The California Highway Patrol says in Alhambra,
at least we have another good cop.
A woman who was a passenger in a second car both died after the violent crash. People in the area describing the impact.
I heard some sirens for a split brief second, and then just an absolute horrific bang crash of an accident.
The CHP says the crash was reported.
Is it like hot dogs with crowd on it?
The officer inside the SUV
or I guess
was
brats with crowd.
Alhambra police as 28-year-old Alex Sanders. He had been with the department for 8 months. The front part of his SUV was left destroyed. A procession for Officer Sanders was held today from LA General Hospital in Boyle Heights to the LA County Medical Examiner's office.
It is a tragedy, and we offer our sincere condolences to the Alhambra Police Department, to the residents of Alhambra, and Officer Sanders' friends and family.
In the second car, the woman who died, along with a man that was taken to the hospital with major injuries. The third person in the car was the driver, who suffered moderate injuries. The CHP says that driver is now being questioned.
It's just a different schnitzel place.
Crash site this morning. This part of West Valley Boulevard near Edgewood Drive and Primrose remained closed off for hours. Around noon, the officer's SUV was towed from the area.
I mean, that is mangled.
The car, I guess, from the impact, it was half a block, and it was just...
We don't have security footage from one of these places.
So that, to me, was just like, wow, someone passed away.
Gabriel Valencia says he has an office nearby. He told NBC4 he has surveillance video
that the fucking debris.
Crash. That video is now in the hands of the CHP.
The other car just, from what I see on the video, you can't really see the car, but you can see the impact, and it was traveling at a high rate of speed.
At last check, the names of the three.
Oh, is Schnitzel like the little flat patties of like Ville and
a CHP public information officer telling
chicken or whatever
may have been a factor in this crash. Again, the investigation is ongoing. We're live in Alhambra. Camilla Rambaldi, NBC 4 News.
Rambaldi. The National Transportation Safety Board has released new footage. Maybe it's new pictures. I don't like Kraut. Yeah, this is new images of the UPS plane that crashed a couple weeks ago. Holy shit, you see the engine coming off.
We have breaking news. A new NTSB report is shedding light on what may have caused a deadly Louisville plane crash earlier this month. Newly released photos show the moment the left engine detached from the UPS cargo plane shortly after takeoff. The report says the engine pylon showed signs of fatigue cracks and overstress failure. That crash killed 14 people and injured 23.
Wow.
ABC transportation reporter Sam Sweeney is here with more on that. Hi, Sam. So what's the latest here?
Diane, those pictures are pretty incredible. The surveillance video from the airport shows that engine ripping off of that plane just seconds after lifting off from the ground. You can see it there. And then the engine goes up into the air over the wing. A fire happens, and then there's parts all strewn across the runway. That jet only made it 30 feet into the air. It cleared the airport fence, but then it hit those warehouses. And now the NTSB is looking at the metal, the fatigued metal on those planes, saying it showed signs of cracking. And that's why they took such quick measures to ground other similar planes in this fleet to make sure they also don't have the same type of cracking. There was a very similar crash that killed more than 200 people back in 1979 on this same plane, and the NTSB points that out in their report. This is just the preliminary report. It could be up to a year before we have the final probable cause.
All right, Sam Sweeney, thank you.
Insanity. We're going to go to... Yeah, this is in California. This is in Tarzana. A fire hydrant was sheared and it took out the awning of a gas station.
Ginger, good morning. I take a look at this and the awning that was covering those fuel pumps here at the Chevron station. Now, we believe that a vehicle may have struck a fire hydrant, and that has sent up a geyser that is landing on top of that awning, and the pressure has just collapsed down into the gas station there. And the intersection of Reseda and Ventura Boulevard is also flooded. So they are diverting traffic here on Ventura Boulevard. Yeah, they certainly are, Jared. It's been going on for about an hour, but you can see LA City Fire Station 73 hard at work here, trying to find any means necessary to access.
So I don't think it was like the hydrant itself that took it.
We haven't seen the vehicle.
Took out the awning. It was just the constant flow of water on it.
Chevron station here, all that water coming down on the awning, and the awning has actually collapsed onto some of those fuel pumps. And then the runoff here is in the middle of the intersection of Reseda.
I assume they've cut the gas
Boulevard,
off.
which you can see is partially shut down. They're diverting all the traffic onto Reseda, which you can re-meet with the 101 freeway. And I have to say, Ginger, that 101 eastbound at Reseda, that earlier crash has cleared. Ooh, there it goes.
Oh, they shut it down. That was cool to watch.
Yeah, the damage is done. Jitter, we watched it here live on KTLA. City Fire.
I've made a few women do that.
We were able to finally get access to the valve and shut down that sheared hydrant, but that was setting up a geyser, and all the pressure from that water fell down onto this awning, and the awning actually collapsed into the fuel pumps there. So even though the water has been shut off and the flooding has kind of receded, there's still going to be some activity going on here. They might need to bring Department of Building and Safety to assess the damage. So in the meantime, Reseda and Ventura Boulevard will be partially blocked.
Now we're going to go live to Montville. I think this is maybe Kentucky? I don't know exactly where this is. Montville. A house has exploded, killing several people. This is the live shot.
I parked down there, and then by the time I got it all hooked up, about 10 minutes. Did you do it already? We got here at 4 o'clock.
It says New Jersey, Montville, New Jersey.
I saw them like spreading out like a white sheet. I thought, is this a fatal? They said no, but maybe a dog.
They received the call around 2:40 this afternoon, and when crews got here, they found this house completely engulfed in flames. Inside the home was a man and his 2 daughters. The fire chief says the man was working on the furnace inside the home when the fire started. He's actually a Hamden firefighter. He was severely burned and taken to the hospital. One of his daughters was also burned on her hand, and her hair was singed in the fire. Another daughter, also in the home at the time, was not injured. Departments from 3 different
well, maybe nobody died. I'm sorry. I was wrong.
His home is completely destroyed.
My apologies.
Smoke is still coming out of the house, but again, crews are here working to contain those hot spots. Right now, the fire chief says the house is a complete and total loss, and he says it's always scary when responding to a fire, so he's thankful crews were able to get here quickly and get the fire controlled. Again, the dad inside is a Hampton firefighter. He is also in the hospital with his daughter. We are still working to figure out his condition, but he was burned severely. Christy. Oh, God. Thanks, guys.
Sure would be cool if we had video of the explosion. I'm kind of into that shit, unfortunately. Okay, this one appears to be a wacky story. We got to talk about it. A Campbell's Soup employee has been fired for talking shit about Campbell's Soup.
A former Campbell's Soup Company employee is taking legal action against the food giant, and he's making some explosive allegations about one of its top executives. Good evening, and thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Ty Steele.
I'm Kimberly Gill. Those allegations are now at the center of a lawsuit claiming
different than I thought it was.
Vice President went on an hour-long tirade attacking the company's products and employees before taking aim at its customers.
And the former employee recorded it all. Eric Erickson shares that recording and what the company is saying about it.
We have shit for poor people. Who buys our shit?
And that's just part of an over an hour-long rant, says former security analyst for Campbell's, Robert Garza of Monroe.
I don't buy Campbell's products barely anymore. It's so healthy. Now that I know what the in it, even in a can of soup, I look at it, look at me, bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer. You?
The recording allegedly of Campbell's VP and Chief Information Security Officer Martin Bally.
Yes, I decided against that because the cat died.
Supervisor
I would have totally showed that. I've only seen the picture. Yeah, I've not seen any video.
Claiming Bally made racist remarks, admits to coming to work high, and Garza fired for coming forward.
What do you think about the things that he was saying?
Oh, just pure disgust.
Garza says he usually worked remotely for Campbell's headquarters based in Camden, New Jersey. But thinking he'd be discussing his salary with Bally, he says the recording taken in person at a restaurant.
They couldn't think for the thousand like you dumb
Garza says he felt sick after the rant, deciding to go to his direct supervisor in January, keeping the recordings to himself.
He had never had any disciplinary action. They had never written him up for poor work performance.
Garza says no one at Campbell's ever followed up, and it's taken him 10 months to find a new job, calling the way the canned soup company handled it simply terrible.
They have a motto, like we treat you like family, here at Campbell's, come work for us, we treat our employees like family. That's not the case.
We did just.
That's what they all say.
Says, quote, if accurate.
Wait. Was she eating soup?
If accurate.
The case.
We did just receive a.
Why is she eating soup? Why would you're doing a story on how Campbell's hates their fucking customers and you're gonna eat some soup when you come back on camera for your hit? I was like, I can't really be seeing this, right? But I did. No, Campbell's is good. Here, I'm eating it. They're a sponsor on our station. Please don't get mad at Campbell's.
Statement from Campbell's, it says, quote, if accurate, the comments in the recording are unacceptable. They do not reflect our values and the culture of our company. We are actively investigating this matter. We've also reached out.
Didn't they say it was the vice president of the goddamn company? Vice president. If you're telling me that the goddamn vice president doesn't represent the absolute values of the company, you are full of shit.
Directly to Martin Valley. Erica Erickson, Local 4.
I am disgusted because you're supposed to be an impartial journalist. That seems to be showing favoritism to Campbell's, don't you guys think? Basically a free ad for Campbell's while you're talking about how they hate their customers. Beyond absurd. This timeline is beyond parody.
Oh, you got him. Nice job, Lauren.
Oh, that's such a cutie. Doesn't look too injured.
That one's coming. We got the cat out.
All right.
All right.
Let's get out of here.
I still think all you cops are bastards, but thank you for getting the kitty.
Good kitty. Hi.
That one's coming. I'm in route.
Twitch people, don't leave me. We're gonna stick around. Probably gonna watch a police chase, listen to music.
Hi.
They should let the cat drive. I'm glad they rescued it. I hope they didn't do something to it.
Oh, you got him. Nice job, Lauren.
YouTube people, podcast people, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before we hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. I won't see you on Sunday.
Right.
I'm going to be at Dollywood on Sunday. We have a big day planned at Dollywood.
Hi.
So I will see you Monday.